Welcome back. I'm answering a question long-term about supervision. I'm going through my entire career, 35 years, of incompetent supervisors I see, good supervisors, and now I'm about 19 years on, and I am a supervisor. So I'm going to explain to you the things I had to do. I just explained the last one. They're kind of long stories, but just to see what we have to do. And then in the meantime, I'll explain when I get farther down other, again, more competent supervisors. You want to ask me a question or comments, go to this site and email me at rsbcopstories@gmail.com, and I'll answer your questions. We've been doing that right now. So here's another one. I'm working a squad. This time I think I had 3 guys working for me. Okay, young detectives, and one of the guys was one of the best undercover operators I think we ever had. I know in our unit of maybe I think we had about 80 detectives. Really only about 15 undercover officers. The rest of the guys are backing them up. They're support and stuff. So you really only have a small cadre of undercover officers. A very precious commodity. Later on when I use them, they're precious. I mean, seriously, because they fit the area. They're the right ethnic makeup, and very tough to get that kind of mix. So whenever you have like one good undercover officer, you have about 6 backup guys to back them up. That's usually the ratio. So you can imagine if you have 60 cops or 80 cops, you're only going to have about 8 or 9 undercover officers that are really good at this, and this guy was one of the best. Okay, so he went undercover. We had a money laundering case. It's in my realcopstoriesvideos.com site. 355 of those. You have to scroll through it. Look at all of them. You'll enjoy them. But he's in there. He went undercover to do an illegal money laundering operation run by Colombians on one of those check cashing places, where you go in there and cash your paycheck or whatever. Of course, they charge like, I don't know, 25% or whatever they charge to do that. They were laundering money big time. So we'd gone with the IRS and us, and we're providing the manpower and an undercover officer. IRS is providing a phony money drop and phony companies to think that we're dealing in money or dealing in narcotics, and we're trying to launder money through this organization. Everything's on tape. He's wired, everything's wired, his car's wired. We didn't have video then. Like nowadays you see cops that have video cameras in all the undercover cars. We didn't have that then. It was just hidden microphones on him in the car. So every time he meets these guys, there's a money exchange, a couple $100,000, cash. Very dangerous operation, very dangerous for him. We had to make sure there was nobody walks up on him. I was out on foot. My other partner was out on foot because it's a heavy Latino area. It was using these check cashing places are in like strip malls, so we're out on foot with fake beer and sitting on corners watching to make sure nothing happens to him, because our primary job whenever you have an undercover officer is to protect the undercover officer, because he's vulnerable, he's on point, they call it. He's the one guy out there that we encourage not to carry a weapon, but some of the undercover officers like to. It's up to them. I was undercover. I carried one only because I was paranoid that help wasn't going to get there fast enough and I might have to shoot my way out of this place. So there was a couple of times when I was on those cop stories where I felt that it was gonna get kind of hairy, and I'm glad I had my piece with me. At least if I'm gonna go down shooting. Okay. There's an old Mexican line. I don't know how it's quoted directly. Pretty much, rather die on my feet like a man than on my knees like a sheep. I don't know if that's exactly the way it is, but it's pretty much the macho Latino Mexican thing that you better, if you're gonna do it, I'm gonna stand here. We're gonna shoot it out. You're not gonna get on my knees. You're not gonna put a gun to my head and kill me. Okay, it's not going to happen. Okay, so anyway, I'm getting off on really weird ethnic stuff here, so I'm sorry about that. Okay, so anyway, we covered him. Okay, and again, at least 8 or 9 of these meetings, 250,000 at a pop, a lot of money flying everywhere, a lot of nuts and bolts here. Him mostly. Without him, this does not work. Okay, one operation, he was sick. He showed up, and the guy was sitting there shivering in his car, sweating. He had the flu. So what are you doing? Because I'm a supervisor. I control him. I report about him. I take care of him. Oh man, you're going home. Go home. I don't want to go. Just everybody. No, go home. So my boss walks in. What happened? He's sick. He's got the flu. He goes, oh, he needs to go home. I said, and of course my non-knowing ex-motor officer lieutenant says, oh, I can't just deal while he has the flu. And I'm a supervisor at the time, so now I can flex a little more. I've gotten 18, 19 years on. Lieutenant's got about 25 on, so now we're getting, one thing about being a supervisor, you get more years on, get more clout in your statements, but you also get a little ballsier too. Okay, you feel more like you can actually push against the establishment more, and that's the way I felt. And so I looked over at him, and I probably shouldn't have said it. I go, would you come to work if you had the flu? Would you go undercover if you had the flu? He looked at me like shocked that I would talk to him that way. He just walks away. And my top set goes over and goes, That was pretty good. I said, well, you know, he's never done it. He used to be a motor officer. The worst thing he ever did was write tickets for jaywalking, okay? We're out here on the line going undercover with guys with guns. I said, just because you can read a cookbook doesn't make you a cook, okay? He goes, wow. I said, I don't appreciate that. I said, there's only a small bunch of undercover officers. He's over here bad-mouthing the guy that's basically carrying this case, okay? Doing everything. Undercover, money, handling. He goes, yeah, wow. So you might get some backlash. I don't care. You know, F him. Well, he told my top step, and I guess my top step didn't like what he said to him, so he's jumping back at him. So they're good. I got the little monkey and I threw it over there, okay? So they're over there arguing about something, you know. So the next day we come to work and he goes, man, I had out with the lieutenant last night. What happened? What did you guys do? He goes, he's telling me that, you know, that you got to talk to me about my attitude. And I said, he has no attitude. He's an undercover officer. You don't push him around like that. He's sick and all that. And, would you do it? Now he's telling him, would you do this if you were sick? You wouldn't even be out here. That's beside the point. No, it's exactly the point. They're having this screaming match out in the parking lot. I go, thanks for that. He goes, yeah, I get this. He says, we're doing this case because he's in charge of this squad. Within this squad is this undercover officer, and we're doing most of the legwork on this case. We are carrying this case. IRS is helping. Everybody's helping. Helicopters helping. Other officers are helping. Surveillance officers are helping. The lead people are us, and the lead guy is this guy. Without him, nothing goes anywhere. Okay. I'm leading up to something here. Trust me. Okay, so this goes on for probably a good 2 months. And then finally, the day of reckoning, you know, they arrive. We're talking as they drive away, the whole world collapsed on everybody. We had like a dozen cops at the check cashing place at the same time with the radio. They all get taken down. We take these guys down. Everybody's, you know, all bets are off. Everybody's taken down. IRS pulls up with a big old freaking, one of these UPS double-sided, triple axle trucks, empty, and they cleaned out the entire, they took desks and chairs and phones. I mean, there was nothing left in that place except the vault, okay? It was open. And there's a side note there. They asked the guy to open the vault. He goes, I ain't giving you nothing. So, okay. They had a truck there. I mean, the IRS is pretty cool. I said IRA, didn't I? I meant the IRS. They had a truck there. I think you've seen it on the side of a freeway. It looks like a giant working man's truck. It's got acetylene tanks and hoses and drills, and they had one of those trucks sitting there standing by. They're going to drill into the side of that vault and get it open. They're going to get it open. Okay, this is the government. This is the IRS. This is like customs. They're going to find something. IRS, they're going to open up that vault, whether you like it or not. They're going to throw a frag grenade in there for crying out loud. Okay, so I guess we'll open it. Well, fine, open it. So, no, we don't care. So they get all the money out of there. So anyway, so okay, fine. So it's all over. Okay. So as his supervisor, I come to work the next day, and I tell my boss I'm going to write him a commendation because he's my subordinate. Great case. I know all the facts. I'm actively. I helped debrief him with IRS. I stood there every time he did something. I'm intimately knowledgeable within our department, because IRS writes their own report, of his involvement and his importance to this case. So I want to write him a commendation. He goes, yeah, sure, go ahead. In fact, take the day and go do it. We're all doing administrative duties anyway because it's the day after the big arrest. So, okay, fine. So I spent about an hour, you know, writing it in hand, getting drafts, make sure I got the right wording. Come in the next day, and my undercover officer sitting there, and he's got this sheet in front of him, and he's reading it. And I'm looking at him, he comes in, he's just shaking his head. And this is going back to my Vice days in that realcopstoriesvideos.com site. This happened before. Okay, it happened to me. Now it's happening to him. He looks up at me and he goes, read this. He throws me the paper. It's a commendation written by the lieutenant. Okay? And as he hands it to me, he goes, I'm not going to sign it. Okay, now, in our circles, when you get a commendation, they have your name at the bottom along with your name in the narrative. And who's ever involved in it, they put their names at the bottom. You know, like CC2, you know, all the names. And a line behind him. And what you do is you hand the employee one, he signs, his initials the master, and then you give him a copy, and then you go to the next. So that way the captain knows that everybody's seen it, everybody signed it, and then they've given copies. If you don't sign it, he wants to know why. Because, especially him, he's the main guy. He goes, I'm not going to sign it. I went, oh, that's a big no-no, okay? So I go, well, what? So I read it, and he's all mad. So I read it. Well, here's the thing. It's got about 5 little paragraphs, you know, maybe 8 or 9 lines about the investigation. The first couple paragraphs explain the investigation, which, okay, but it's too much, okay? Keep it short. Second and third paragraph, we're talking how he, meaning the lieutenant, coordinated, supervised, and ran the operation. Okay, that's kind of a lie because he really didn't do it. My top step did it, okay? And I shouldn't say did, my top step did about 30% of it. I did about 30% of it, and the undercover officer did the remaining 40% because he's the one that's running it. Okay, we help him. He's the one that makes the decision how he's going to go undercover, how he's going to talk, what's he going to say. So he's, and again, we're only the peripheral. So we get down to the last paragraph. Remember now, he hasn't mentioned the undercover officer's name at all. Not yet. 4 or 5 paragraphs. How bitching everybody is, you know. Then he goes, and by the way, you know, Detective so-and-so did an outstanding job of going undercover and, you know, conducting the investigation to its fruition. What? What was that? Fruition? I don't even know how to spell that. Okay. What? So I read this and I go, this is ridiculous. He goes, I'm not going to sign it. I said, I wouldn't either. I said, wait. He goes, calm down. He's all mad. So I'm going to go to lunch. Go to lunch. Okay. So my top step comes in. I said, you know that the lieutenant wrote a commendation? He goes, said he was going to write one. Why did he say he was going to write one? I'm going to write one. I already got written. Here's his commendation. He hands it to the lieutenants. My top step reads it. He goes, oh no. He gets out his red pencil and just runs a slash of red line through it. Whoa. So then your lieutenant comes in. They're all coming in. We all come in about 10 o'clock. Some come in about 9:45, 10 to 10. So everybody's kind of trickling in. Lieutenant walks in, and my top step could not wait for him to walk in. As soon as he saw him, man, he's out of his chair with that form in his hand. I went, uh-oh, this is not going to go good. Okay, so he goes into a room. Remember now, 3 days earlier, they were having a shouting match in the parking lot as to my UC's having the flu. Because this wasn't going to go well. So I'm kind of like giggling to myself, this ought to be good. I wish I was in there. You know, because it's a soundproof room we use for interrogations and stuff. And pardon my allergies. And he comes out, his face is red. He goes, hey, the lieutenant wants to see you. Me? Why am I in this? He goes, bring your commendation. Okay. So I go in there. He's sitting there. He's not happy either. He's got a grim look on his face. So I walk in. Hey, you want to see me? Yeah, I'll have a seat. And then so he asked me things like, first of all, did you write a commendation? I said, yes, I did. I said, and then I come right back again. When I have some time on now, I've got the stripes. I got a little more clout. I said, yeah, because we agreed that I was going to write it. See, I'm trying to get him off here. Trying to let him go, you know, that I'm doing it. Well, yeah, I thought it'd become better from coming from his lieutenant. I said, okay, but, you know, I have more intimate knowledge in this investigation you do, sir, all due respect. He goes, yeah, but, you know, it's just an overall thing. Like, he's telling me, like, anybody could write the same because it's just an overall picture. Well, no, it isn't. It's specific. This isn't writing Xerox makes great toner. You know, this is specific to the employee that made the toner. If I get down to that kind of thing. You know, this is specific to this undercover officer. It's for him because he wants to promote later, which he did. He wants to see this in his package. When they open it up and they look at his package for promotion and say, look at this long-term investigation. This is great. Name him. Names him. Not generally everybody did a great job. That's bullshit. Pardon my French. Okay. So he goes, well, and he goes, so he's got that sheet in front of him with a red line through it. My boss wrote on there. He goes, did you read the commendation? I said, yeah. He goes, what do you think of it? His commendation. I go, I wouldn't have signed it. What? He looks at me. And you know what? I know my boss told you, but the UC's not undercover officer not going to sign it. What? He didn't know that. What? He's not going to sign it. His name's not in it. His name's in it. It's right at the bottom. No. It's not the same. All due respect, sir. It's not the same. Well, this is your commendation. I said, okay, sign it. Whatever. He's reading it. Pretty. You know, let me get on a side note here. This is how I said about the investigation. Our department and IRS conducted a team investigation on money laundering in the area of, I think it was Commerce or something. I don't remember what city it was. Several meets were made by this undercover officer, and it proved, ludicrous. You know, it was a good operation. It was a good investigation. Then I wrote a paragraph on him. Met the suspects, did a great job, went undercover, made up stories, offered safety. There was some guns involved when we made the arrest. Lots of money involved. I wrote all this stuff about him being there, him coordinating, him making up stories. Good 2 paragraphs about him specifically, and then a nice narrative at the end. You know, couldn't have been done without him. Seriously. Without him, this case goes nowhere. The whole case is credited to this specific detective. That's the way I wrote it. Okay, maybe 4 small paragraphs. So he hands it back to him and he goes, "Do you think I was wrong in what I wrote?" Ouch. Okay, he's reaching because I think my top step did tell me later that he told him he was wrong the way he wrote it. And so remember I told you, as a supervisor, even as an employee, sometimes you have to pull that belt tighter and tell the truth. May not like it. And if people know me, if you're gonna don't ask me a question, I won't tell you no lies. Okay, I'll tell you the truth. So I said, yeah, I think so. He looks at me, how dare a subordinate say that to me? And I said, I think you were more concerned with the overall picture, trying to be soft here, and I think you need to be more specific for him specifically. Yeah, but we're all part of the operation. I said, I know, but without him, it doesn't go anywhere. The night of his flu, after he went home, he had 104. He called me later. What did we do? We disbanded, because without him, there is no case. You can't plug in another UC. You can't plug me in there. Can't plug in, because he is the center of the case, and that should tell us, meaning him, that without him there is no case. He goes, oh, good point. I said, yeah. So, there's 60 of us out there covering him, surveillance teams, undercover guys to cover the undercover operation, all kinds of people here. Maybe not 60, maybe more like 50. Okay, a lot of people, helicopter, everybody. I said, but everybody goes home because he's not here. He goes, well, good point. Well, we talked to your boss, and we agreed. No, you didn't. You got lambasted by my boss. Okay, we agreed that we probably should be his immediate supervisor, and that you should be the one to write it. Oh, really? Thank you, Captain Obvious. No problem. And I'm being like a dummy. Oh, yeah, okay. As I'm nodding like this, I'm going, what a dumbass. I just do these smiling, condescending nod in my head. So I gave the commendation to now I gave the good one, mine. He signed it. He was happy with it. He gave him a copy. My boss liked it. He initialed it. I initialed it. I one of the few times that I'm not supposed to be involved in this, because my name wasn't even in there. I'm not part of this. I walked over to the captain, hand delivered it to him. He read it, thought it was great. Goes in his package. It goes to So ultimately, 3 or 4 years later, he promoted not because of that, but because this is what he needed to do. He's a good guy, competent, professional. So there's another story about me as supervisor, and I hope I didn't go out too far, but there's a lot of moving parts here. Okay, so hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.